Hey guys, it's Lily and welcome back to Sleeper Vlogs. So I'm in my sweats and I'm ready to do another Dancing with the Stars recap. Let's do it. So this week was Queen Night. So all of the dancers performed 2 songs by Queen. It was amazing. I absolutely love Queen and I love all of their songs. So it was really fun to jam out to the songs while watch the amazing dancing that was happening on stage. Let's get into this recap. So first up we have Amanda Klutz and Alan. They did a jive to Don't Stop Me Now. They got an 8, 8, 8, and 9 for a 33 out of 40 as their total. First of all, I really liked that she had good footwork. That was the one thing that kind of stood out to me, was her clear and precise kicks and flicks and her amazing technique. She had a really good energy with the fast movements and I really enjoyed watching that. And she also had a really good smile and stage presence. But I think that she could work on keeping that energy up that she had with her fast movements with the slow movements, because I kind of saw a little bit of an energy change. It went down a little bit when she was turning and doing more slower transition moves. So if she could keep that energy up with those slower movements as she did with her fast movements, it will improve her dancing a lot. Next up, we have Olivia, Jade, and Val. They did a quick step to Fat Bottomed Girls. They got a 10, 8, 10, and 10 for a 38 out of 40 as their total. She kept a really good hold and frame despite the really fast choreography, so that was really, really good. And she was definitely much more open and free in her personality. She was a lot more expressive. I feel like in the past weeks, she kind of kept it in herself, and this time she was definitely more open and free to the audience, which I really like to watch. And I think that she could work on her hand and her arm extensions. Her hand was kind of like this, whereas like kind of like a weird flexed hand, and I'm used to kind of that arm extension with the hand involved, so she needs to kind of realize that her hand is a part of her arm and it should be in line with her arm. Maybe that was how she was taught technique-wise, but I felt like this kind of flexed hand was a little bit awkward. Next up, we have Iman Shumpert and Daniela. They did a Paso Doble to Another One Bites the Dust. They got a 9, 7, 8, and 8 for 32 out of 40 as their total. I really liked his natural groove and just swag. Like, I feel like he has this amazing natural movement in his body, and that's something that we haven't really seen in a male athlete, or we don't really see in a male athlete. And I think I've gone over this before, is that this natural groove that he has is kind of rare for a male athlete who's as macho as Iman Shumpert, and especially as tall as Iman Shumpert. I've definitely seen athletes on the show where they're very clunky and very kind of all over the place and very stiff, and that is not the case with Iman Shumpert. So I have really enjoyed watching his natural groove and swag, and he had really good energy. So next week I think he could work on his arm placement when his arms are up. So he had the paso, so his arms were like this, but I feel like because his arms are a little bit shortened down like this almost, it was making his tall presence shorter, so he was sinking down a little bit. And your goal is to kind of make those arms a part of the line. It's a Latin line, so he wants that strong, tall presence about him, and maybe he was trying to shorten down to Daniela when he was dancing, but he should embrace that tallness and really make that really pretty Latin line that you see in the paso. Next up, we have Jimmy Allen and Emma. They had a Viennese Waltz to Somebody to Love. They got a 9, 9, 10, 10 for a 38 out of 40 as their total. I think he had really good rhythm and very good expression, and something that really stuck out to me this week was his amazing partnering. I think that he's getting a lot more comfortable with partnering Emma, and he's getting a lot more comfortable with being the lead, and that's really, really good for him. I think that he could work on opening up the upper body, definitely in the arm movements like this. He was a little bit hunched over and within himself, so I think that if he could, on that arm extension, open up his chest and his upper body, he's going to be even more expressive. So he had really good expression in the arms, but to kind of be more expressive, he needs to open that upper body up in relation to the arm movements. Okay guys, so I'm literally an idiot and I forgot to film JoJo Siwa and Jenna's analysis slash recap in the last recap that I filmed. So I am here on editing day and I'm gonna fill that in for you. So next up we have JoJo Siwa and Jenna. They did a tango to body language. They got a 10, 9, 10, 10 for a 39 out of 40 as their total. I really liked her power and her fierceness. I liked how it was controlled. And as Bruno said, it was a supermodel tango. It was honestly so powerful, and it looked like she was walking down the runway for a fashion show. I also liked Carrie Ann's comment about her growing into an adult. It definitely seemed that she was maturing on the show, from JoJo with a Bobo to this amazing, wonderful woman and adult, and I loved that. I think next week, she should improve on the distinction of slow and fast moves. I think it was Len who thought it was a little bit too fast at points and a little bit too sharp at points. So I think if she can try to show that distinction between the slower, more ooey gooey moves to the sharper moves, I think that she will improve a lot. So next up we have the Miz and Whitney. They had a Foxtrot to Radio Gaga. They got $8 all across the judges panel for a 32 out of 40 as their total. He had really nice expressive arms this week, and he had a fluidity about him, which I feel like I've also said this similar to Iman Shumpert. The Miz is very macho, so again, the first instinct is, oh, he's going to be really clunky and really stiff. But throughout the weeks that I've seen him, he's really gotten better at making that clunkiness very fluid, and he definitely had better footwork this week, so I'm really proud about that. He was eliminated, sadly, so I will get to that at the end of the video. Next up we have Suni Lee and Sasha. They had a Paso Doble to We Will Rock You. They got an 8, 8, 8, and 9 for 33 out of 40 as their total. First of all, she was not feeling well, so that's definitely a factor in her performance. I get it. It sucks not feeling well. I've definitely had performances not feeling well. Actually, I was in a Nutcracker performance and I was actually doing a partnering dance, and I felt so bad because I had a fever previously. I didn't have a fever for a couple of days. So my parents let me dance in the performance, but I was still very congested. I have an overactive gag reflex, so when I cough a lot, it activates that overactive gag reflex, and then I projectile vomit. And so basically what happened was I was dancing on stage and I was hacking and I was really coughing and wasn't feeling well at all. I managed to get through the performance, get off stage, and I was still hacking, still coughing while taking my costume off. I ran downstairs. I found my dad, who was working backstage, and I was like, Dad, I have to barf. And I literally ran to the bathroom, barfed. And then for the second act, because I was also in the second act with this performance, my understudy had to go in, and she was actually in the audience watching the show, and she got a call saying, hey, so Lily barfed backstage, so you have to go in and you have to perform for the second act. So that's what happened. And dancing while sick is not fun. So kudos to her for getting out there and performing and giving it her all, because I would not be able to do that. So I really liked her timing and rhythm. She had great timing, great rhythm, and I really liked how elegant this dance was. I know that when we talk about the Paso Doble, we usually talk about how powerful it is and how strong it is, but I think that sometimes an elegant Paso Doble is a fun way to do it, because you can still be really elegant in a strong dance, but still have that power. So I think that was a really good balance between elegance but also power. And I think that next week she should work on confidence. There was definitely a little slip. I know she wasn't feeling well, but I think that working on that confidence will help her balance herself out a little bit. Next up, we have Cody Rigsby and Cheryl. They had a Foxtrot to You're My Best Friend. They got an 8.899 for a 34 out of 40 as their total. He definitely had this playful vibe that I really liked, and it was definitely a lot more calmer and controlled that Derek mentioned, and I really, really enjoyed that. You could also see the joy that he had in his dancing, as Carrie Ann mentioned, and I think that definitely goes to show how much a personal story can affect movement and affect expression in movements. And next week, I think that he could improve on just prepping his positions. I think that he was a little bit early in a specific turn that he was leading for Cheryl, and he had his hand kind of ready and prepared for her to turn in, and I think that hand and that arm right there was a little bit awkward. So I think that he should work on timing specifically and making sure that that hand is there, but at the last minute, if that makes sense, because it kind of eliminates that awkward position of this. Next up, we have Melora Hardin and Artem. They had a Foxtrot to Killer Queen. They got 9s all across the judges panel for a 36 out of 40 as their total. First of all, the acting was amazing, as always. I have always been impressed with Melora's acting throughout this whole entire season. She had a really great character, and I think that choreography really matched the mood and the character together, because again, the Foxtrot is very elegant, but this was a very powerful dance. So I think that Artem did a really great job with having that elegance within the dance, but also having that power of a queen, because the song is Killer Queen. And I definitely thought that it was like they were dancing at a royal ball. And did she lose balance? I have no idea. I wasn't really watching out for it, but Carrie Ann thought that she may have lost balance somewhere in the dance. And just to eliminate that, to work on for next week, I think that she should just work on maintaining that balance, really grounding her feet in the ground, lifting the upper body up, having confidence, all of the things that I've kind of been explaining throughout this whole recap series that I've been doing on this vlog. So let's get into the relay rounds. I actually really enjoy the relay rounds because it's really fun to see the dancers dance one right after the other. And it kind of creates this cool like fluid movement and transitioning movement from couple to couple and pair to pair. I think that the relay round is really good competitive wise, and I think that they match the 3 couples up really, really well in the relay rounds. And it's also really interesting to see how the pros choreograph to their different sets of lyrics and their different parts of the songs. So first up, we have the Jive Relay. This was the Miz and Whitney, Iman Shumpert and Daniela, and Cody Rigsby and Cheryl. Iman Shumpert and Cody Rigsby both got 2 bonus points, and the Miz sadly didn't get any bonus points. And they did a jive to Crazy Little Thing Called Love. As far as the Miz goes, I liked his character. For Iman, I liked his groove. And for Cody, I liked his technique. And I would have given my extra point to Cody because he had a really good balance of technique and energy. I think that Iman had a really nice groove and energy, and the Miz had a really good character, but Iman and the Miz didn't have a lot of great technique, where Cody did have that technique. Next up, we have the Foxtrot Relay. It was JoJo Siwa and Jenna, Olivia, Jade, and Val, and Jimmy, Allen, and Emma. They did the Foxtrot to Under Pressure, and Olivia Jade got all 4 of the bonus points, and JoJo and Jimmy did not get any of the bonus points. JoJo was definitely very controlled, which I enjoyed. Olivia was elegant, and Jimmy was very poised. So it was a really good mixture of different elements from the Foxtrot. And I would have given my extra point to Olivia because she was definitely the most improved from her previous Foxtrot. I know that JoJo got all 10s, like a perfect score for her last Foxtrot. And I think that honestly, Olivia nailed this dance. Like, she was perfection in this dance. So I definitely would have given my extra point to Olivia. And last but not least, we have the Viennese Waltz relay. They had Amanda Klutz and Alan, Suni Lee and Sasha, and Melora Hardin and Artem. They danced the Viennese Waltz to We Are the Champions. And this was definitely like the most spread out extra points that you could have possibly had for this relay. So Amanda got 1 extra point, Suni got 1 extra point, and then Melora got 2 extra points. Amanda had really great footwork. Suni had really good expression, and Melora had amazing turns in the end of her dance. And I actually would have given my extra point to Suni because she definitely cracked out of her shell. She really emerged out of her shell, and I think a part of that is because the last time that she did the Viennese Waltz, it was very, very, very in herself, and throughout the weeks she's really improved on emerging out of her shell. So I definitely think she was more open and expressive, and that kind of made me want to choose Suni as the winner of the relay. But really, this was the most consistent and the strongest relay. Okay, so let's talk about this elimination. So the bottom 2 were JoJo, Siwa, and Jenna, and the Miz and Whitney. And the Miz and Whitney went home. They got eliminated. I definitely agree with the judges' decisions to save JoJo. She was definitely the strongest and most consistent dancer out of the 2. I was very confused as to why JoJo was in the bottom 2, but I guess it goes to show how influential these votes are from America or from the fans. I definitely think that, continuing on with the previous talk about fans' votes, that America has so much, or I guess America has so much influence on this show and on the decisions that are made. And again, like, I know ABC and I know Dancing with the Stars is still trying to fix this and still trying to improve on this, but it's honestly kind of an issue because sometimes the best dancers go home and sometimes the worst dancers stay in the competition. And I definitely think that America's kind of stopped voting for JoJo in a way because she is a dancer, like, she is a trained dancer, and I think a lot of people don't like the fact that she's a trained dancer and the fact that ABC and Dancing with the Stars is kind of hiding the fact that she's a trained dancer. And I know that it's a different style, and I get it. I'm a trained dancer, 13 years of ballet and other styles, but I've never done ballroom. I'm literally in the ballroom dance club taking classes in college, and I'm completely lost on some of the dance styles. So I get it. It's hard. It's definitely a lot different than other dance styles and other dance styles that you might have been trained in, and especially with JoJo, that she might have been trained in during Dance Moms. But it doesn't eliminate the fact that she has had dance training and that she has had that training where she can pick up on movement and pick up on certain steps, that she has that flexibility, and that she has a lot of skills that really help her within the competition. I'm not saying that it's unfair or whatever. Like, I know that a lot of the dancers have had previous dance training, and I'm not gonna deny that. Like, they've had Nasia Lukin, who has a rhythmic gymnast background. They've had Heather Morris, who was a backup dancer for Beyonce of all people, and she was the most amazing dancer on the TV show Glee. And they've had Mackenzie Ziegler on Dancing with the Stars Juniors, and they tried to hide the fact that she was on Dance Moms. And they've had so many other trained dancers on this show. So I think that eliminating all the trained dancers on the show is probably not possible. I think that at least some contestants may have had some kind of dance training, at least in the past. Maybe they're not great at it, but they probably did have some dance training in the past. I know football players take ballet for balance. I get why America may not want to vote for JoJo because she has so much dance training that they kind of want to make the competition a little bit more fair, and I get it. So that is my rant for this week. Thanks again for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, turn on your post notifications so you're updated every single time we upload a video. Comment down below your video ideas, your thoughts, feelings, opinions on this recap/review. Follow us on social media. The links are in the description below. If you would like to see all of the dances that happened this week, you can click on the links in the description below. If you would like to see all of the dances, you can check out Dancing with the Stars on YouTube, and you can watch all the dances from there. And also, if you would like to look at my written recap that I got published in my school newspaper, you can click on that link in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.